Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of The Art of Volunteering. Today, I have my friend, Dr. Amelia Butler. She is coming to us with this amazing passion of her heart, reaching students. So, let me just share a little bit about her. She is the founder of All About Dem Kids. She is an educator with 20 years' experience in education and 12 years of experience in international student travel. After her first international travel experience ever, which happened to be with students, Dr. Butler saw and understood firsthand the impact international travel has on students and their academic success. Dr. Butler has embarked on a journey to make international travel a reality for those students who may not otherwise have the opportunity to travel abroad. Well, thank you, Dr. Butler. May I call you Amelia?
Oh, please call me Amelia.
Okay,
Dr.
just wanted
Butler
to make
sounds so
sure.
formal.
So well, it's an honor to be a doctor, so I think I don't wanna not use it. So, I am so looking forward to our conversation today. We started a little bit before we came on air. Um, you're an educator. Can you just start with, like, high school, middle school? Like, tell me about your journey as a teacher.
That's an interesting one because so I taught high school for 20 years, and I was actually at the same high school for all 20 years.
Wow.
I did, summer school at different schools, but I didn't come into education a traditional way. I never thought I would be a teacher. I was in actually private industry, or I was in accounting and finance, and company bought our company, last hired, first fired, that type of thing. And so I found myself unemployed. And so a friend of mine was a teacher for the school district of Philadelphia. And she said, "You should try to be a teacher because they need math teachers." Now, mind you, I had an accounting degree, not a math degree, but in their eyes, accounting is a form of
Right.
math. So I applied. I was accepted and got a partial scholarship to go to Drexel. I transitioned my MBA to a master's in education. And it was interesting because I was hired in August, in fact, August 21st, 2004, and then started in a school as a full time teacher that very, like 2 weeks later.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, oh my God, what do I do? Because I had never taught, never written a lesson plan. And so the 2 weeks prior, they gave you some quick training, but it did not prepare me because it was more geared toward like K-8. But I can say I had a phenomenal coach from Drexel University and a phenomenal coach from the school district. And they typically say your first year of teaching either makes or breaks you. And I had a great first year. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I'm supposed to be doing because I love the kids. And apparently they liked me because they didn't, throw anything at me or anything.
Well,
They listened to
well,
me.
that's good.
Yeah, and it's been that way ever since, and I can say I'm still in touch with a lot of my students, from throughout the years. So it's like having hundreds and hundreds of children.
Oh, that's awesome, and you don't have to, put food on the table for them. You can just like, "Hey, how you doing?" and move on.
Right, except when I was in school, they want me to bake the brownies and bake the cupcakes and all
Oh,
that.
well, that's different. I mean, like, that's just the cool teacher. So how did, working in the classroom translate into your first job, or first opportunity to travel internationally with students? What was the bridge look like?
Okay, well, initially there was another teacher that did the travel program at our school. He's the one that started it, and so the first time we traveled was with him, and we traveled to Canada, and it was interesting because it was a bus trip. So we all got on, and there was a bunch of us. It must have been about 25 or so kids and about 5 or 6 staff members. Went to Montreal and Quebec, and it was such an amazing experience. Like when you in my bio, when you were reading that, and when I first traveled with kids, I could picture that, and I felt like I was there because it was such an amazing experience to see, these children, some of them who had never, been out of the country, never been out of the city or the state. Um, just really embrace the experiences and the food and the culture, because even though it's just Canada, it is, they do have some different foods, different culture. So, yeah, that was amazing, and it just started from there. The next year, we went to, France and Spain, and that was an amazing trip. So yeah, it's just kind of blossomed, and to see, especially when the kids have never been on an airplane, going forward, and they're just like that whole, I guess the unknown and the excitement of being on that plane, of going somewhere different, and being able to have those experiences. So it's been amazing.
Well, how did that become all about them kids? Like, what was that journey like?
Okay. So the nonprofit ministry
Ministry, nonprofits.
started, excuse me, as of last year.
Okay.
Fast forward to this one teacher, he left our school, and I wanted to keep that, that travel going. And so we've gotten a new principal. So it took a little convincing for him to say, okay, you can do, an international trip. So I took students to Spain, Barcelona, and Madrid. And that was an amazing trip. And we had planned to go to Costa Rica the next year, but then the pandemic happened. So during that time period, we couldn't travel. So last year, we finally went to Costa Rica. So typically, I have this one particular teacher who always travels with me. She's like my travel buddy, my work wife, if you will. And unfortunately, she wasn't feeling up to going. She had some health issues. And so I asked another teacher to go with me. She was a new teacher at our school. And in fact, a new teacher, period. It was her first year teaching. And I saw how amazing she was with the students. And I was like, the kids are going to love her. So, and I wanted to expose her to this experience of traveling with kids and kind of broaden her horizon, and kind of round out her teaching experience. So we went to Costa Rica. So at night, when the kids were sleeping, she and I, stay up, make sure the kids aren't
Right.
coming out. And we would just have these conversations. And I expressed to her how important it was for me to give students these opportunities. And actually, last year, there was one student we decided we wanted her to go, but her parents weren't able to pay for it. So we raised the money. I can't tell you how many brownies I baked, how many cupcakes, all those things just to raise this money for this young lady to go. So we would sit there and we're talking, and she's like, and we talked about, she's like, you should start a nonprofit. And we just were throwing names around and everything. And so I had wanted her to be here today, but she had another obligation. And so it was born from that. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do, because I knew it was a possibility of me retiring this year,
Mhm.
but I still wanted to be able to work with students and to give them that opportunity. I didn't want to just leave, because for me, teaching is all about the kids.
Right.
Sometimes the adults can be a little, but the kids are amazing. And so that's how it started. And so it's pretty much in the planning stages and the work stages. And so, yeah, that's where we're at right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So the podcast is all about the art of volunteering. You
Mhm.
have just a couple volunteers, right? Who help you? Is it just you and your co-founder?
No, there's about it's myself and about four others.
And they help with fundraising, and they're probably
With the
being a
fundraising,
nonprofit,
the
they're on your
planning.
board and
Exactly. Yes.
okay, very cool. We've talked about so much. I'm not sure where I am in my questions. Can you just talk a little bit about the student, like their journey, like them deciding to go, what that experience is? You shared a little bit about the first time being on an airplane, but just like the student's journey into this international travel experience, like from the time they decide to when they get back and just how their eyes are opened.
It's funny you say that, because I have a couple students now who already told me they're going next year,
Okay.
because they get so excited, and I let the students pick where they want to go.
Awesome.
So, uh, um, I think for the last couple of years, I've had the same, a core of the same students going. So I said, well, we got back from Costa Rica last year. I said, "Well, where do you guys want to go next year?" And they said, "Japan." So we went to Japan. Um, they want to go to South Africa next year, so we're going to work to go to South Africa. But their enthusiasm is contagious because they are my best marketing, like just by word of mouth, by them telling everybody at school. And previously, it was kind of, centered with the school I was at, but my goal is to open it to all students in all
Mhm.
the high schools in school district of Philadelphia, because I don't wanna limit anybody's opportunity or chance to travel abroad. But literally, the kids are my best advertising because they're so excited and enthusiastic about it. Like they were ready once they realized, okay, we're going to South Africa next year. They're ready to sign up right there. Their parents are like, wait a minute, let's get this trip out the way. And in fact, one of the mothers has already texted me twice and said, well, when can we sign up? When can we go? And so currently, a lot of my students they're paid. We do some fundraising, but they're parent paid. But I would like to be able to open it to other students. I don't want finances to limit students' opportunity to go. And so right now I'm in the process of, trying to find the funds, trying to raise the money because it's not cheap. And a lot of students' parents cannot afford it. Um, but yeah, so that's my goal.
I love it.
Yeah.
We've kind of come at this as a little different angle
Mhm.
from your students. You've been going on trips. You 7, 8, 10 years. How long have you been from your first trip to now? How many trips have you gone on?
I think I've probably gone about 7-ish,
7.
but
Okay,
3 of them that I've orchestrated myself.
3 on your own. From those 7, can you share a story of impact, like just one person or maybe 2 people that you truly saw a difference? Maybe their outlook changed, their
Mhm.
academics went up, like just some impact that you can recount.
So, it's interesting that the young lady from last year that went to Costa Rica, she had never, ever really been out of Philadelphia, and she'd never been on a plane, and so, for me to be able to give her that experience, it's just like, can I just I had her so if I have a website, and so I kinda had a couple kids write up some things for the website. Can I just read what she
Oh,
wrote to the
absolutely.
post?
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great.
So this is from my one student. She says, "The idea of traveling was always weary to me." And I asked her, I said, "Do you mean weary?" She's like, "Yeah, because she's like, "It just seems like so much." She's like, "I didn't travel. I never even left the country. So never did I think I would go to Costa Rica!" Exclamation mark. On a school trip at that. It was such a fascinating experience, and it also humbled me in a way. To see and experience challenges everyone has to deal with, it made me appreciate home. If I had the chance to do it again, I would. And she just had such an amazing time. Like the whole time we were there, I guess she kind of, how the kids do these days, they blog it or they
Yeah,
record
yeah.
it or whatever. But she just was just an amazing time. And so something did happen to her while we were there. Nothing horrible, but I think it was like next to the last day or a couple days before we were gonna leave, we were supposed to be going zip lining. And maybe this is moving ahead. This might be my blooper. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So we were gonna go zip lining. And so she's walking up the path. We have to walk up this path, and um, she accidentally loses her foot and she falls and sprains her ankle.
Oh,
And
no.
so what I appreciate about her, she did not let that get her down. Like, she still was so enthusiastic and so happy just to be there and still experience. She couldn't do zip lining, of course, but the last couple days when she was, had the injury, it was fun because the kids pulled together. They would carry her around like a human wheelchair or whatever, just so she can still do the things and get to the places we needed to get to. And so I'm saying that to say, even through everything, the kids, it really draws them together. Because typically I've traveled with small groups.
Mhm.
Like myself, I take like 10 to 12 kids at a time. And so we're placed with other groups. And so it's great to see how kids kind of come together and they learn each other and they make friendships that last a lifetime. And so, yeah, it was just such it was an amazing thing that, she still had this bubbliness and this happiness and this enthusiasm despite her, inability to do everything everybody else was doing. And the fact that the kids came together to ensure that she still had a great time.
That's
And I
amazing.
forgot what the question was, but
That's okay. No, I just wanted to get the sort of impact, but I think you shared it, because you're talking about the young woman's life and how it was impacted, but how the students were impacted, and they came together and like, she's one of us, and we're going to make sure she gets to do as much as she can, and they really became, I would say, it deepened their relationships with each other, which, as you said, they're going to have for the rest of their lives.
right.
And you'll reflect on that and stay in touch. My husband was part of he went to Disney, and so on an international program. He's actually from Canada, so so he is still in touch with these people, and it's been a few years, couple decades, and he's still in touch with them, and they share stories, and they have reunions, and so that the impact of being together and doing something like this is just amazing.
Mhm.
All right, let's shift gears just a little bit and talk about you. Do you have a volunteer journey?
I think, I kinda get my desire to volunteer, honestly. I could say I am my mother's child because my mother was always somebody that always gave back, whether it be in church, she was always doing something for someone, and that's the way I feel. If I can help you in some kind of way, if I can give back, then I'm right there to do it. And I think that's another reason why when I went into teaching, it was kind of like a perfect fit for me. Like I never thought I would be a teacher. And they say, "Oh, you have a job and you have a career." Well, for me, teaching was a lifestyle. It was literally like 24/7. You know what I mean? And it was okay because the kids were so amazing. And it's interesting to me when people say, "Oh," when I tell them I taught high school and in school district of Philadelphia, they're like, "Oh my God, it must have been horrible." I'm like, it's not. And it's all in how you perceive, how you approach the kids because kids know if you really care or you don't care,
Mhm.
right? And I've never had an issue with student behavior or anything like that, no matter where I've been, whether I've been in my school or another school for summer school. And so for me, being able to do as much as I could for those students was, you know, I guess the best form of volunteering that I could do because, we get paid a salary, yes,
Yeah.
but
But teachers go above and
they,
beyond.
yeah, they do. I'm gonna say it's like,
Yeah.
and you have to understand when you become a teacher or when you go into that field, it's not just like a 9 to 5 job. And so, we do need those summers to kind of regroup. But a lot of time during the summers, I'm still doing stuff with kids. So um it was and it's important for me to do that because it's important for me to make a difference in a student's life and to just kind of touch them and encourage them and empower them.
When we were preparing, you had laid out what your core values are for volunteering. Do you want to go over those with us? Do you remember what you wrote?
I do not.
You do not? Hang on. I
That's
thought they were really cool, and they're so appropriate. You had put to act without expectation, and that's one of your favorite sayings. A simple act of kindness, to make a difference in the lives of others or even the life of one. And it's not how much you do or how big you do, but simply that you do.
Mhm.
And I appreciate all of those because one of the like the vision of the art of volunteering is to help restore the fabric of our society, and I think your core values truly align with that. It's especially the last one. It's not how much you do or how big you do, but simply that you do, and that's what. it takes to bring people together. So I so appreciate what you wrote. You want to expand on that at all?
Well, it's funny because to act without expectation, if you come into my house, I actually have a little thing that says act without expectation
Hmm.
because it's funny. Because I can tell you a story. This happened several times in school where I need something done, and the student's like, "Well, what do I get?" And I'm like, "Really?" And then when another student just says, "I'm going to do it," that is to act without expectation, to act and not expect that you're going to get anything in return for your for what you do.
Hmm.
And that's really, really important because I do what I do not because I'm like, oh, I'm going to get this back or I'm going to get that back, but just to do it because I feel that it's the right thing to do. And that's what I've tried to teach my students. And, most of them get it. And then I say, well, if you do this, can I get some grade? Can I get a test grade or a few points on my grade? I'm like, no, it doesn't. I said, forget it. But why? Why? I'm like, and then somebody else will come up and say, but also, if we go through our lives and we just exist and we don't help anybody, and unfortunately, there are people that way that just um, don't want to do anything. But you'd be surprised, the smallest act of kindness can have such a ripple effect of difference. You know what I mean? Like you may not realize that one time when you show someone kindness and they're like, oh my, that could change their day. It could make or break them. And so for me, every day I face everything with positivity. And if something negative happens, you can always take something good or positive out of everything. And that makes a difference when you're interacting with people. Pause, because sometimes, as humans, people, we kind of react to things without thinking first. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but it's taken me a long time to get to this point and say, okay, instead of reacting, why is this person acting this way? Maybe they're going through something that you don't know, but so to always react with kindness or to do, the smallest thing can make a huge, huge difference in somebody's day.
Mm, I
Yeah.
love it. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for writing down these core values.
Thank you for reminding me what and if I were to sit and think about it, I'd probably write the same stuff, but I wrote that, what, a month ago?
Yeah.
I'm like, "Send me a copy of that."
I will do that. Okay. Now we touched on this slightly before, and you talked about the blooper about the young woman and her ankle. Is that the blooper you want to go with, or did you have something else that you want to share?
I'm gonna go with that one because I would have to really, really think,
Okay.
um, about everything, so I'm gonna go with that blooper.
Okay, that's fine. But I love how they all came together and help her enjoy herself, even though she didn't get to do the zip line. But
Mhm.
in my book, that would be okay. I don't do zip lines.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's funny because, I had gone to Costa Rica, before with the students. I went with some teachers, and I don't like rides, I don't. But we went to I can't remember the name of the reserve, but the zip line was really, really high, and you had to take 10 zip lines to get back
Oh.
down to the bottom.
Oh.
And I was afraid, but I did it, and it wasn't that bad, and it was such an amazing experience. I actually have a picture of me, like, you see nothing but trees around me, and I'm hanging on the zip line going down, but, I'm always of the mind, try it at least once if it's not gonna kill you.
Maybe, I'm not sure. All right. I have so enjoyed our conversation today. I have one more opportunity. I'll look at it that. I want you to love, like cap the letters love on all about them kids. Something that we haven't talked about, something that you want to make sure people know about. Just you have the mic.
Okay, first of all, we need money.
Okay.
And it's funny because as you're saying that, I'm sorry, ugh, every time I think about my students and the impact that this experience, and I'm getting a little
Mhm.
teary-eyed, will have on them is just amazing. And when I see their excitement when we're traveling and the different things they try, like we just got back from Japan and just them trying the different foods and just being happy to be there and just interacting and just having those experiences because it makes a difference when students can see other cultures, other ways of life, other countries. I know for me it did. And I wished that it had happened a lot sooner in my life, but things happen when they happen for a reason. Um, but it's an amazing, amazing nonprofit. I'm tooting my own horn.
Yeah.
Um, because with it, it's not that we're just giving the kids these experiences. We want to see the impact it has on their lives, does it improve, their academics? Does it make a difference? And also, they have to give back. So it's kinda like, I don't have the word I'm looking for, but they have to give back. So if they're experiencing this, if they're a recipient of any kind of scholarship, they have to give back because it's not just like, "Oh, I got this trip to go to this country." They need to realize the importance of not just the travel, but giving that opportunity to someone else and being a part of that process to give back, to give another student that opportunity. So, yeah, it to me, it's amazing. I mean, my ultimate goal is to do this 3 times a year. So each time the kids have a break from school.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
spring break, summer break and winter break. Um, because it's so important to expand the worldview of students. It's not the same. Kids are always on the computers, on the phones, playing around, and they could see different things, but to actually have those experiences, to taste those foods, to interact with other, like, real people, not AI,
Mhm.
makes a huge, huge difference. So, yeah, and again, we need some money
I understand that.
to be able to
Just
make it happen.
just curious, do I should have asked this earlier, but you made me think of it now. How do the students have, like, those bake sales and opportunities to raise money for their trips? Like, they have to do the active fundraising for
They
it?
do.
They do. Okay.
They do, yeah. And so now it's seeing what that looks like because I'm no longer a teacher in the school district.
Right.
And whereas before it was just focused on the school I was at and those students, although this year we did take a student from another school. So going forward, what those fundraising opportunities look like. So I'm one of my co-people, they work on the fundraising and try to find opportunities for fundraising to allow the kids to be active participants so that it's not just like, okay, here's this money and scholarship, you get to go. But working towards it and so they know the value and they know you know, what it means and how important it is to provide that opportunity to another student, like I said, by them giving back as well.
Oh, that's amazing. All right. Thank you so much for being my guest today. I so appreciate this conversation. You're bringing back memories of when I was in high school and we went on a trip to
Mhm.
Montreal and Quebec and visited up there and just the differences. I remember having a camera for like my own camera, not just my mom's, and just all the pictures that I took because it was enough different that it just really opened my eyes, and I knew that I enjoyed travel. So that's just amazing that you do this, and I just so look forward to hearing about other stories of impact of these young people's lives and what that looks like.
And I just want to say thank you to you
Oh,
for giving me this opportunity to share about my nonprofit and for making me feel at ease because I was like, oh my God, what am I going to say? But allowing me to just really speak from my heart and from my passion about how I feel about these kids and how important it is to be able to provide this opportunity for them. So for that, I say thank you.
well, you're welcome. Thank you. To my listeners, thank you for tuning in. I hope that you found value in today's conversation. I know I have. I do ask that you rate and review wherever you listen to this podcast. It really does help others hear about the incredible work volunteers are doing around the world. Thank you and have a great day. Bye bye.